Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into Vision.io.
Vision.io.
Yeah, it's a blockchain domain marketplace
Okay.
that has some really interesting ideas, let's just say. And we're going to take a look at them.
Okay.
We've got a document called Texto Pegado
Okay.
and a little message from their website. So our mission today
All right.
is to figure out how this token they're developing
Right.
could actually change the game for buying, selling,
Yeah.
and even just thinking about domain names.
Yeah, I think what's interesting to me is how they're moving beyond just the basics, like not just using a token for payments,
Right.
but really trying to craft a system where you can
Yeah.
get people involved and build trust and, maybe give access to knowledge and tools that you wouldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah, so Texto Pegado lays out 6 ways this token could be used.
Okay.
The first one is access to premium features, which sounds pretty standard, I guess. But I think when you get into the specifics, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not just about like early access to verification or something, or like fancy search filters. They even mention things like priority alerts for token holders, which could be huge
Oh, yeah.
in a market where, timing is everything. Imagine getting a heads up before anyone else that a high-value domain is about to be auctioned.
I'm already seeing dollar signs.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's not all about making money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Vision.io seems to be thinking about how to cultivate a real community.
Yeah.
And the next category, reduced fees transaction benefits,
Mm-hmm.
really hints at that.
Absolutely. I mean, sure, everyone loves a discount, but, they're talking about giving a portion of fees back to token holders. So it's
Right.
not even just a discount. It's a direct incentive to
Yeah.
hold on to the token and be an active part of the marketplace.
Right, right.
So it creates this really cool feedback loop where the more active the community is,
Yeah.
the more valuable the token potentially becomes.
That's really clever. I feel like they're baking community engagement right into the tokenomics.
Exactly.
Now, this next one is especially interesting to me. Reputation and trust,
Mm-hmm.
which is something I'm always thinking about, especially in the often wild world of domain trading.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's a core issue in any marketplace, but I think even more so
Yeah.
in a decentralized one. And Vision.io is proposing to actually use the token to build that trust
Right.
through escrow systems, verification badges tied to your token activity.
Wow.
Think about it, like you could put up tokens as collateral in a high-stakes domain deal,
Oh, wow.
signaling instantly that you're a serious and trustworthy player.
It's like a digital handshake
Yeah,
backed by real value.
exactly.
No more wondering if someone is going to disappear after they get your domain.
Right.
I like it. Now, the fourth category is something we hear a lot about in the blockchain world.
Okay.
Participation in staking and rewards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious to see how Vision.io puts their own spin on this one.
Yeah, well, the document suggests staking tokens to get priority in domain auctions. So think about, a hotly contested auction
Yeah.
for like a premium domain name, something short and catchy
Uh-huh.
with a popular extension.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just hoping for the best,
Right.
you could stake your tokens to get a better position in the bidding queue.
So the more you stake, the better your chances of getting that dream domain.
Yeah.
That adds a whole new layer of strategy to the game.
Right.
But staking isn't the only way they're thinking about rewarding participation.
No,
Yeah.
they're also, Vision.io seems to really want to reward people for doing things that actually make the marketplace better.
Yeah.
Like curating domain listings, reporting suspicious activity, even just spreading the word about Vision.io.
Right.
They're essentially saying, help us build a healthy ecosystem and we'll reward you with tokens.
Okay. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
aligns incentives in a way that benefits everyone.
Yeah.
It's not just about just flipping domains for profit. It's about being
Right.
a good citizen of this digital marketplace.
Yeah.
Now, the fifth category, we're moving into the realm of knowledge and insights.
Okay.
Access to educational content and specialized analysis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always up for learning more about how to navigate this crazy world of domain trading.
Well, good news. Vision.io is proposing to give token holders access to exclusive content,
Okay.
like in-depth market reports, trend analysis. Think about it,
Yeah.
reports detailing emerging trends in like top-level domains, comparisons with other markets, basically the kind of insider information that could give you a real edge.
Wait, so it's not just raw data. They're talking about curated insights from people who really understand the domain market.
Exactly.
Now, that's valuable, but they're not stopping there,
No.
are they? Texto Pagado mentioned something about exclusive seminars and workshops.
Yes. Imagine being able to learn from seasoned domain investors, network with other savvy traders, maybe even, score some mentorship. It's almost like creating a private club for serious domain enthusiasts.
Right.
All powered by the token.
Okay, now that's what I call a premium feature. It's not just about the information itself. It's about getting access to a community of people who speak your language.
Exactly.
This is starting to feel less like a marketplace and more like a movement.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like you're building a real ecosystem around domain trading.
Yeah.
And finally, the sixth category is where things could get really expansive.
Okay.
Integrations with other ecosystems and services. This is where the real potential of Web3 starts to shine through, I think.
Exactly. This is where we move beyond the Vision.io platform itself and start thinking about how this token could interact with the wider world of blockchain services. Texto Pagado hints at some pretty exciting possibilities.
Yeah, imagine using your Vision.io tokens to get discounts on website hosting or design services, or maybe even access to other blockchain tools.
Okay.
It's like having a passport
Yeah.
to a whole network of Web3 services, all thanks to this one token.
It's like they're creating a loyalty program for the entire decentralized internet.
Exactly.
But it goes even further than that.
That's it.
The document mentions something about using the token in DeFi.
Yes, there's a brief mention of using tokens as collateral for loans.
Oh.
Backed by domains. So we're talking about unlocking entirely new financial instruments.
Right.
Built on the value of your digital assets.
It's like taking the concept of a mortgage and applying it to the world of domains.
Exactly.
Whoa, that's next level stuff.
Right.
It's clear that Vision.io has big plans for this token. But wait, there's more.
There is.
We also have this little message from their website that says, a new version of Vision.io is available. Please refresh the page to ensure you are using the latest version.
Interesting. It seems like things are moving fast over there.
Right.
Makes you wonder which of these potential uses are already in the works.
Maybe some of these features are already live on the platform.
Yeah.
We'll have to do some digging and see what we can uncover.
Sounds like a plan.
But before we get lost down that rabbit hole, I think it's important to take a step back and think about what all of this could mean for the future of domain trading.
Okay.
This is much bigger than just one platform.
You're right.
This is about how a new technology could change an entire industry.
Absolutely. What Vision.io is doing could have ripple effects throughout the entire domain industry. They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible with blockchain technology, and I think that's something worth exploring.
Okay, so let's do it. In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to shift our focus to the bigger picture.
Okay.
How might Vision.io's approach reshape the landscape of domain trading as a whole? Buckle up, folks.
It'd be good.
Things are about to get even more interesting. Okay, so we've seen the potential of this Vision.io token, but what gets me excited is thinking about the domino effect.
Right.
We're talking about an industry, domain trading, that's already worth billions.
Yeah.
And now blockchain tech comes along, and Vision.io seems to be riding that wave in a way that could shake things up big time.
It's like they're taking a magnifying glass to those inefficiencies we see in traditional marketplaces, the ones that rely on central authorities and all that baggage.
Right.
And with this token, they're not just, streamlining things. They're building in transparency and security that just wasn't possible before.
Yeah. It strikes me that for some people, this is going to be a huge mental leap. We're used to thinking of domains as these things managed by registrars and ICANN and this whole system.
Yeah.
Most of us don't even think about, but Vision.io is almost creating a parallel universe.
Right.
Where ownership and control are totally different.
It's a shift from renting a domain to truly owning it.
Right.
And when you add in a token with all these uses, it's not just about the domain itself. It's about being part of an ecosystem. I'm curious, though, do you think this will make traditional domain investors nervous?
It's a good question. I mean, change can be scary, especially when you've built a career.
Yeah.
Maybe even a fortune on the old way of doing things. Yeah. But honestly, I think the benefits are too big to ignore. It's like comparing a paper stock certificate to owning a piece of a company through blockchain. One feels flimsy.
Right.
The other feels unshakable.
That's a great analogy.
And as we move more and more online, as the internet itself evolves, that sense of unshakable ownership is going to become even more valuable.
Yeah. Imagine a world where your domain name isn't just a website address,
right?
But it's, proof of your identity or reputation in this digital world.
Okay, now that's blowing my mind a little bit. We've been talking about buying and selling domains, but you're suggesting this could change how we think about identity itself online.
Whoa.
And it seems like Vision.io is laying the groundwork for that with, their tokenized reputation system and those verification badges. It's like they're saying your on-chain activity tells a story.
Yeah.
And that story has value.
Yeah.
In the future, maybe your domain acts like a key.
Okay.
Unlocking access to different communities or even financial opportunities based on your proven track record.
So it's not just about owning a cool domain.
Right.
It's about what that domain represents in this emerging Web3 space.
Exactly.
This is starting to feel like the early days of the internet itself, when people were just starting to grasp the potential. It's exciting, but it's also a little daunting.
It is.
And that's why these deep dives are so crucial. We need to unpack these ideas, explore the possibilities, and figure out how to navigate this new landscape together.
I agree.
Now, remember how we talked about those integrations with other ecosystems? That's where things could get really wild.
We talked about discounts and access to services. What about the bigger picture?
Well, think about how reliant we are on the current system of domain name servers.
Right.
What if platforms like Vision.io start building decentralized DNS systems powered by their tokens? Suddenly, we're talking about a more resilient internet, one that's harder to censor, and where users have more control.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Are you saying my website could essentially live on a blockchain, accessed through a domain name that I truly own, not just rent from a registrar?
That's the potential we're looking at.
Whoa. That's a radical departure from how we think about the internet today. But it's a vision that many in the Web3 space are actively working towards.
It is, yeah.
That's mind-blowing. And Vision.io is positioning their token as a key part of that infrastructure. Well, that's a game changer. But let's be realistic. This stuff is still in its early stages.
Right.
What are some of the challenges that you see ahead?
Adoption is always a hurdle, right? Getting people to understand, let alone embrace these new technologies is going to take time and education. And then there's the regulatory landscape. Governments are still trying to figure out how to deal with cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And that uncertainty can make things difficult for companies like Vision.io.
True. But look at the history of innovation. Every disruptive technology facing resistance at first. I mean, the internet itself went through a period of skepticism and uncertainty before it became ubiquitous.
And just like the internet, I think the key to widespread adoption is going to be user experience. Platforms like Vision.io need to make it easy and intuitive for people to interact with blockchain technology, whether they're buying a domain, participating in a decentralized DNS, or exploring new financial opportunities.
Okay, so user-friendliness is paramount. Got it. But let's not forget about the human element. We've talked about the tech, but what about the community? What role do they play in all of this?
The community is everything. It's the early adopters, the developers, the domain enthusiasts who are going to drive this innovation forward. They'll be the ones testing out new features, providing feedback, and ultimately shaping the future of this ecosystem.
It strikes me that Vision.io is doing something really clever with their token. They're not just building a platform, they're building a movement. They're giving people a tangible way to participate in and benefit from this evolution of the internet.
It's a fascinating case study in how to incentivize a community and align everyone's interests toward a shared goal. It's something we can all learn from, regardless of whether we're into domain trading or not.
I think that's a perfect place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to explore in the final part of our deep dive.
All right.
We're going to shift gears from analysis to speculation.
Okay.
We'll put on our futurist hats and imagine what the world of domain trading might look like.
Okay.
5, 10, maybe even 20 years from now. What do you say?
Sounds fun.
Are you ready to take a leap into the unknown? Okay, so we've talked about the present, the near future of domain trading with Vision.io. But now I want to get a little wild,
Okay.
Let's put on our sci-fi goggles and jump ahead, say, a decade or two.
All right.
What does this world look like? What's the long game here?
Fasten your seatbelts, because things are about to get speculative.
Right.
But that's the fun part, right?
Exactly.
We've seen how Vision.io is laying this groundwork for a more decentralized and user-centric internet. But what happens when those seeds fully bloom?
Exactly. What are those unexpected consequences, those things we can't even imagine yet? I mean, who could have predicted back in the early days of the internet that we'd be ordering groceries? Yeah, hailing taxis with our phones.
Exactly. So let's try and stretch our imaginations here. We've talked about blockchain domains becoming digital identities.
Right.
But what if they become more than that? What if they become like the keys to a personalized internet experience, tailored to your on-chain history and reputation?
Okay, paint me a picture. I'm logging onto the internet in 2044.
Okay.
What's different?
Imagine logging in not with a username and password, but with your blockchain domain.
Okay.
It's like a unique identifier that represents your entire online presence, your transaction history, your contributions to various communities, even your educational credentials.
So it's like my domain is my passport to this digital world.
Yeah.
But it's also my resume, my credit score, my social media profile, all rolled into one. That's both incredibly convenient and a little terrifying.
It is a double-edged sword, no doubt. Privacy concerns will become even more paramount in this future. But let's focus on the potential upsides for a second.
Sure.
Imagine a world where access to certain online spaces, maybe exclusive communities or educational resources, is granted based on your on-chain reputation.
So no more gatekeepers, just algorithms and smart contracts.
Right.
Judging my worthiness based on my past actions.
Exactly.
That's either the ultimate meritocracy or a dystopian nightmare, depending on how it's implemented.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's why I think the ethical considerations of these technologies are so crucial.
Yeah.
But let's not get too bogged down in the doom and gloom.
Okay.
Let's imagine a scenario where this is used for good.
Okay, I'm game. Hit me with some optimism.
Imagine a decentralized scholarship program.
Okay.
Where students earn tokens for contributions to open source projects or educational platforms. Those tokens could then be used to bid on scholarships.
Okay.
Giving talented individuals from all backgrounds access to opportunities they might not have had otherwise.
So their domain, their digital identity becomes a testament to their skills and contributions, opening doors that might have been closed before. I like that. It's like those verification badges we talked about earlier, but on a much grander scale.
Exactly. And this could extend beyond education. Think about like micro-lending platforms where your on-chain reputation determines your creditworthiness, or like decentralized freelance marketplaces where clients choose workers based on their proven track record, not just their self-promotion.
Wow. So we're talking about a world where trust is built in, where your reputation precedes you, all thanks to these blockchain domains.
Exactly.
It's almost like a return to a more reputation-based society, but on a global digital scale.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We're taking these ancient human concepts of reputation and trust and translating them into this digital realm.
Right.
And platforms like Vision.io, with their innovative use of tokens, are at the forefront of this experiment.
It's like they're writing the rule book for a new kind of internet. One where users have more control, more ownership, and ultimately more power. But with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Of course.
What are the potential pitfalls we need to be aware of as this technology evolves?
One of the biggest challenges, I think, will be ensuring equitable access.
Right.
We can't let this new internet become a playground for the wealthy and tech-savvy.
Right.
We need to make sure that everyone, regardless of background or technical skills, has the opportunity to participate and benefit.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. We can't just replicate the existing inequalities of the physical world in this digital space.
Exactly.
We need to build a more inclusive and accessible internet.
I agree.
But it's not just about access, is it?
No.
It's also about education.
Absolutely. We need to empower people with the knowledge and skills to navigate this new landscape.
Right.
That means teaching them about blockchain technology, digital identity.
The importance of online reputation management.
It sounds like a massive undertaking, but also an incredibly exciting one. It's like we're standing on the cusp of a new era, and it's up to us to shape it in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said.
And I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Mm.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey. From the nitty-gritty details of Vision.io's tokenomics to the grand possibilities of a blockchain-powered future.
I agree.
It's been a wild ride, and I, for one, am eager to see what the next chapter holds.
Likewise.
To everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Definitely.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in this ever-evolving digital world.